Yo guys, what's up? We're back and we're doing it again. It is time for more work on this Imperial fist. Hope you've all had a good couple of days. Yeah. In the chat so far, we got Datsun Des, #1 mod, Dr. Dirt ND, Ninja Wolf, AJC72, main unit, Viking, Wooden Spoon Wargaming. How's everyone going? Toonie Spruce, thank you very much for that host, dude. Much appreciated. So on the last stream, we took this guy from bare red plastic all the way up to what you see now. We covered priming with the airbrush, getting those undercoats down. Showed you guys how to do that in a way that you're not going to obscure any detail. How many meeps has my account got? I mean, I have the most important meep, so that's all that matters, right? But like all of them. Rival Sarah, what up? We used a selection of inks and pre-shading and under-shadowing techniques to provide a very nice yellow tone on this mini. We're going to take that tonight and we're going to highlight that all the way up, get all the armor finished. We're hopefully going to get all of the mini finished, apart from things like some freehand, because this shoulder pad needs something, right? We that cannot be blank. It cannot be blank. So that is definitely going to be the next stream. But for now, I want to make sure we get things like our face put in there, get all the rest of the base coats done. This thing needs a load of shit. We've got some skulls to do on here with our hazard stripes. Got all those sorts of things that we need to get getting on with. So, let's get to it. First up, I'm just going to get a few more base coats down of silver on the servo skull, a little bit of bone going on, all that sort of jazz. Nice and easy. Have we spelled it wrong? Probably. I mean, that's not outside the realms of possibility. Yarp. Mispress. Cheers, Des. What up? Is there a link to the blooper reel? No, there isn't. That hasn't gone up on YouTube yet, but I could put it up on YouTube. I thought it was quite funny. In fact, I watched that video that Tom did, I don't know, like 5 times, increased it every single time. You can't laugh at yourself. What's the point, right? We need some of that. We're going to need some of this as well. Yeah, that'll do. This is the guide I used on my scouts. I remember those scouts, man. They were good. Sorry, I don't even know if we're going to do a fist yet. We might. We might not. It's a Space Marine. It's loads of room for interpretation on that. Right. Let's get going. So how's everyone been? Who's been getting some hobby on? What you all been up to? If you haven't seen the video that we posted to YouTube only this morning, !Cron, get a link to that video. Don't normally ask this, but please share that if you can. If you have any social media platforms that you feel comfortable sharing it on, that'd be greatly appreciated. And the only reason I'm asking this time is I don't care about viewership on the video or anything. But Tom did a great job with the edits. Like a really, really great job, taking more than 40 hours of footage and compiling it into that 25-minute video. He did an amazing job. So let's get everything sent out on as many different platforms as you guys have got, so Tom can get some recognition for that awesome work that he did. Des, what kind of question is that? Of course, it is sat right there. I can see it. I know what the first part of the giveaway went. Awesome, dude. But the trick is getting Liam or Win to share it, because then, I'm never going to ask Liam that. There's boundaries in friendship, right? So the prize that we've got tonight has been on the shelves behind me, but literally only for seconds. And that was earlier on today. I got it, I put it on the shelves just to say it had been on the shelves and took it off the shelves. So none of you guys will have seen this before. This is a new prize. I like to keep things fresh. I know there are certain people desperate for some of the prizes that we've had in the contest before now. And so, of course, some things will come back. This Marine Terminator came back. He was one of the first mystery prizes up for grabs back in the day. Now he's back. No need to do that. I appreciate it, man. Like, genuinely. But I think there's certain things that it's just cheeky to ask, and that's one of them. Especially when the man's business, and in fact, let's be honest, like his livelihood comes from people watching his stuff. Let's not try and divert our attention. I need him to do it of his own volition without being asked. That's when you know it was good, right? So quick coat of silver down on that cable, just so when we get our black washes going on, we've got that ready to go. Did I refill the mystery box yet? No. I know what's going in it. We have a plan for everything, like every single stage of the giveaways across this month. There's a plan. Oh, and a quick one. There will not be a stream next Sunday. Next Sunday is the day we're having the Bad Luck Brawl, which is my next event at Atlantic Games. And you guys know me, that doesn't normally stop me. We're normally turning up at a tournament, playing games all day, coming back home, getting our paint on, doing all of the cool things that we want to do. However, this time around I have a friend who's made it all the way down from Manchester to take part in the event. And he will not be going back up to Manchester that night. It's a bit of a long drive after an event. It's probably looking at about 3.5 to 4 hours perhaps to get to where he is. And so I've offered him a room for the evening, so he's going to stay here, which means we won't be streaming. So no stream on Sunday. So we will do one reveal this week. In fact, we've got a bit of a weird stream schedule for this month. So let's go through that now in its entirety. So on the 23rd of September, which is a Wednesday, after finishing work, I will go to Bristol, where I've got a hotel booked for the night, just by the airport, and get ready for my trip to No Retreat 9 in Gibraltar. Janelle, what up? And Azrael, yeah, absolutely, dude. Shot glasses and blue tack. Who needs that Citadel hobby holder bullshit? Like, for the same price as one of those, you've got yourself 100 shot glasses and just about enough blue tack to cover them. It's all good. So that's the Wednesday, which means that the Thursday through till the Tuesday, I'll be in Gibraltar. Now, I come back to the UK on that Tuesday, around midday. UK time we get back in. It gives me plenty of time to have a bit of rest throughout the day, and so Tuesday the 29th will probably be the giveaway stream. However, if something does go wrong, it'll be Thursday the 1st of October that we do the giveaway. So just to let you know, that's about a week's worth of content that we won't be putting out, which means this Sunday we're streaming. Next Sunday we're not, but Sunday the 20th I will do the reveal of the next prize and the mystery box. Now the mystery box, spoilers, is going to be the same box. Different prize inside, because this was in the mystery box. It's going to be the same box, so I'm not really like spoiling much there at all. You guys aren't going to get some big reveal on that day, so it's something else to look forward to on that stream for the 20th. Okay. Question from Strizzy90. How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. how do we get Citadel paints into dropper bottles? Well, I put every paint in dropper bottles. If they already come in dropper bottles, don't transfer them. There's someone that probably isn't watching the stream right now that made that mistake and transferred Vallejo metal from one of these into a different one of these. Don't do that. Don't do that. So what I do, Strizzy, in the paint pot, I put a little steel ball bearing, and I put between 20 and 40 drops each of Vallejo Flow Improver and Vallejo Thinner. Now, I use both for a reason. The Flow Improver is a drying retarder. The Thinner is a drying accelerator because it contains alcohol. It helps to get those paints super dry, super fast. I use both because I don't want to change the property of the paint too much. I just want to dilute it. I don't use water because that'll thin the paint out too much. I use two different things, one of which is a medium, it's a Flow Improver. The other one just thins it enough to help get it all out of the pot. You need the ball bearing in there because you want to shake the hell out of that. You want no pigment left inside that pot. Tiny funnel, and then the next thing you know, you either got one of these bottles where you're writing a label on, or you've got one of these bottles where you're just transferring a label over. Happy days, man. Honestly, everyone should do it. The GW pots are, I was going to say designed very badly, but they're probably designed very well from their perspective. They don't seal very well. Which means your paint dries out, and I'm gonna like good guy assume that isn't intentional, but it is just a side effect of the GW pots. Also, for someone like me who airbrushes a lot, it's much easier to transfer paint to the airbrush with a dropper bottle. You're not grabbing a brush and then wasting paint on the brush. So anyone that thinks you waste a lot of paint between getting the paint out of the pot and getting it into the dropper bottle, trust me, you're probably still you're in the black. You're not at a deficit by the time you factored all that in as well. And I see the chat has no love for GW pots. Maldeus, what up, man? The old GW ones, so they've gone through some variations. The super old ones, like the OG Citadel ones from back in the early 90s, late 80s, they were okay. They were fine. The ones with the black lids and the hexagonal ones with the twist top, that was the devil. That was the absolute fucking devil. You got a bad pot of that paint, that lid was never coming off. Didn't matter what you did. So they were not great. But they've been through a fair few iterations of pots, and dropper bottles is where we'd all like them to go. But let's be honest now, that's probably not something that's going to happen. Like the answer of ain't broke, don't fix, and all that. Black and red hazard stripes, man. Yeah, I nearly did a night in these. Because I think it looks cool. Like, yellow and black is like danger. Red and black is like danger. So, yeah. Big fan of those. Right, that's all the silver done. Let's pop that down. Let's grab some wash and get going. And use my slightly older brush. This one's brand new. Don't want to use that for washes just yet. I just realised I conditioned the bristles. That's why it tastes of soap. Delicious. Love that Masters brush cleaner. There. Okie doke, let's get some dark tone on deck. Get all that metal washed. Oh, really itchy nose. Super annoying. And you know what? We're going to make this really dark. So we're going to put this on with just the tiniest amount of water mixed in to help it get into those crevices. We want a super, super saturated black for all of this. We've got such bright armor that we can take this really, really dim. So if your maximum highlights turn it up to 11, this is like going down to 0. Also, I just want to thank everyone for the comments on the YouTube video. It seems that a lot of people really enjoyed it, and I made sure to pass your comments on to Tom, who, like I said, did the editing for it. Absolute superstar. He and I spent many hours on the Saturday just refining edits and re-rendering, re-uploading. I think we went through 4 edits before we got to a point where we were both completely happy with it. So, again, please share, because his work, and you know, it is all his work. Like, all I had to do was sit and paint. That's easy. But he did all the hard work of editing all of the nonsense into something coherent. Your crons have a Black Widow spider feel to them. Ooh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, the Scorpec guys, kind of. Yeah, and the murder giraffes are sort of heading that way. I can dig it. We were going for, like, the Terminator in the dark. That was the sort of initial brief, if you will, for the scheme. I think we got that. Definitely kept them sinister. Looking a little bit angry, a little bit. Don't go near them. I want to do Cesaras before the Codex drops. So, might do Cesaras as our next weekend stream, which will potentially be sometime next month. Like, no promises. It's unlikely to be this month because we've got a lot of commissions to do. Need to be focused in on getting Magnus done soon. He's going to be on stream next week, I hope. I hope next week. That is Magnus. It will be Magnus the Blue. It is Magnus the Red. That's for Rocky Balboa. I can't wait, man. Can't wait. We're getting a base sculpted by none other than the amazing Mr. Damien Pedley, who you guys will know from the chat as Mr. D. He's the guy that posts all of the absolutely baller level good, what are they called? Death Watch. That's it. Mr. D is also coming to the event on Sunday as well, so I'm really hoping I get to play against him. It's such a beautiful, beautiful army. You know, it really is a sight to behold when it's in front of you. Hicko! What up, Blair? How's it going, man? Really like this tune. There's so much of this music that's like copyright free and all that, but it's still so good. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Have you thought about doing a exclamation point link to his YouTube? I haven't got a Pedders command. Not yet. Should do, actually. Yeah. See if we can talk Damien into doing maybe like a dual stream or something at some point as well. That could be fun. Could be a lot of fun, actually. He's a good guy, genuinely, and he's fucking hilarious as well. All the best people are funny. Like, that's just the law. That's the way it is. Finally time to paint. Oh, yes, dude. Is this going to be the first session in the new place? Can't be. Excuse me. So what happened your sense of humour? It went wrong along the way, man. I think I'm hilarious. That's all that matters. I've always said, you know, if there's one thing that you can do, if there's one thing you can say, if it's like a physical thing, whatever, and it just makes one person laugh or smile, then you absolutely should do it. And not doing so is a criminal offense. Sometimes that person is me. Like, I just need to make myself laugh and smile, so I'm just going to do and say this thing. And sometimes that's okay. Of course, sometimes what I say is not okay. No. Hicko, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Glad you're finally getting time to put Brush to Mini. Right, just drying it down. Only because I want to put some layers of bone on the skull, and obviously some black ink right there that is really, really, really fresh. Don't want any of that mixing in. The rest of that guy's fine, he can wait for a bit. We want to get some Menoth White base down. He seems it, I can't know his latest Deathwatch video and told him how crap it was, kind of seeing if he knew any pointers. He agreed and said he'd strip them. Yep. He sends me work in progress pics every now and again. And it's like, I've got some biostrip if you need it, dude. Don't worry. He's got one. This is madness. So he's just converted up a librarian. He's like, I need to get this ready for the tournament on Sunday. So let's see if I can show you the pic. Bad luck brawl chat. Cool. Here you go. So yeah, I just casually converted this librarian. Just need to get him painted for the weekend. Like, the fuck? The fuck? Firstly, what's the librarian doing with a goddamn Inferno pistol? That's a no. That's a straight like, oh, I'm just going to wander in here, null zone, surprise! Bow! Bastard. Absolute BR steward. Haven't even opened your Indomitus. Sorry, no need to apologise to any spruce, you slack ass. What are you doing right now? You know. Don't tell me you haven't had time. But trying to work out what we can do as our next like challenge stream as well, because I do like to. I love doing them. I'm not gonna lie at all. Actually, fuck it. I love it. It's such good fun, especially when you are against it, like really against it. I love that pressure. This is one of the reasons why I play competitive 40k. Is the here's your time, be all you can be kind of moment. I love it. I'm thinking I've got a load of marine stuff in the Indom box, which I was originally used for giveaways. And I reckon I could definitely start a marine army, just casually, off the cuff. Just a small marine army, nothing crazy. Because doing the Grey Knights over a stream is not achievable. Not to get them to. I mean, like, this is what we're looking at with the Grey Knights, right? And trying to get an army of those done like this is too much. It's just not on the cards. I actually think I'm gonna finish that guy as he is, and then scrap the non-metallic metal part of the screen of the scheme, because I'm never going to get them done. I know that. I've got too much on my plate. It's just not going to happen. Hi Mark, I'm streaming. Say hello to the viewers.
Yeah. You all right, mate?
I'm streaming. Would you like to talk to the people in the chat?
No, we'll say hello, mate. I'll see you later.
You just have. Bye, Mark. Mark's trying to get his list submitted. for the event on Sunday, I imagine, and is possibly having a bit of a trouble. Right, we need 2 coats on that. That's fine. We'll leave that for a sec to dry, and we'll go back to this dude, and we're going to break out the only decent GW wash. Like, this is the one, okay? All your other GW washes, throw them away. Maybe not the blue one, actually. The blue one is pretty legit. But this one's good. This one's really good. No, Mark plays Eldar. Anything with pointy ears. Any of the 3 he plays. Even No-Noil. No-Noil's bullshit. Dark Tone for life. This stuff is better than No-Noil. Strong Tone is better than Agrax. Like, I'm not making this shit up. There's a reason I use those and not the GW ones. And it's not because I'm anti-GW, because I'm telling you, this is one of the best yellow washes that you'll ever have. Ever. It is purple. It's kind of a really, really dark blue, ever so slightly hinted purple. It's like, do you remember Midnight Blue from like the old paint line? Kind of like that. I have no idea what Delvin Mud is. Right, we're going to use this. I'm going to recess shade all of the armor. So I'm going to use the brush with a decent point now. Purple's definitely real. You're not imagining it when you see it. You know. God, that's super, super refreshing. There's no purple, there are any more blues. No, there's definitely a purple, because there's definitely a point where that blue stops being a blue. So recess shading, what are we talking about? Just need new Space Marine credits now. All the things I entered it into starting November. Brilliant. Recess shading, pin washing, loads of different names for basically the same thing, is where you do the wash's job for it, essentially. So for most people, when they say, oh, I'll put a wash on it, they mean they're going to take the wash and they put it over the whole of that area. So let's say they wash the yellow, same as the way we wash this, they just paint it all over the entirety of the thing. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to preserve as much of that yellow as possible. So we're going to paint this into the recesses rather than let the wash sort of seep into and seek out those recesses by itself. And this is going to leave a lot of that yellow super clean. But it's then also just going to bring in some of the detail in the mini. Now this is one of those things that takes time. This is not the interesting part of the paint job at all. But because of our highlight style, where we only apply highlights where they're necessary, just like the shark, that's right. That's simply painted black, but we just wash around the yellow parts. It means we can get away with less highlights. So it kind of makes our time effective and efficient, just from a slightly different angle to normal. Pink is actually an illusion because the spectrum of light that exists is technically every wavelength but the one for green, hence minus green. Okay, so I understand what you're saying, but seeing as we've called it pink, then it exists. So, you know. And Des is right, all colours are illusions, because there are some people that are, for instance, colourblind and therefore don't see any of it. So certainly to them, it's all bollocks. I know a competition painter, a Golden Demon winner. Winner? Finalist? I think winner. Pretty sure winner. that's colorblind. In fact, actually I know two. One of them from like way back in the day though. So to them, all colors are an illusion and just something made up by people. Alright, so there's one leg done. Let's start on the other one. And this bit, like I said, it's not interesting, it's not fun, it's kind of boring. And it's a reason why sometimes painting Space Marines is the dullest thing in the world. But it adds so much to the mini when you do it. Not really Maladius, because you can't point to a unicorn in the real world. You can point to something that's pink and go, that's pink. So, yeah. Absolutely fish, see? It's all an illusion to you. I've had to answer questions on WhatsApp before though from one of these guys. And like, can someone please tell me if this is the right colour? Because none of his family are in, he just needs to know. I can put something that's red or green and say, is that green? Well, if you're red-green colourblind, that's clearly an issue. That's a common issue as well, actually. That happens more often than not. A sunset definitely exists. Because it's a thing that we have, that we call it a thing. We call it a name. We've created it. It's a man-made thing. It's not... like the sun doesn't actually set. Same as it doesn't actually rise. But it moves up and down the horizon. As our perception allows it. As mere human beings. I think we're going to leave his belt yellow. So we're going to shade in those areas there. I don't want to do like a black or gold championship belt because it will really dominate the middle of the miniature. And I want this chest eagle, which we're going to paint red, to really bring that out. Human beings, absolutely. Nice thing about non-Citadel paints, they have real fucking names. Menoth White Highlight. Kador Red Base. I don't know what you're talking about. I reckon you're making this shit up. There you go. I said it. Talking absolute tosh. That's not an argument for how relativistic everything is. That's an argument for, like, conditioning. That's all that's an argument for. Like, oh, this hand is now used to being cold. Therefore, we'll pretend to warm it up. This hand is now used to being hot. We'll pretend to cool it down. That's conditioning. That's like brainwashing your body. You fucking Mancurian candidating your senses. That's not really... I don't really agree with what you're saying. I wouldn't call that a fallibility of the senses. I'd call that a fallibility of the machine that is the human body. It's easily deceived. I mean, how many people fool themselves into thinking stuff, yeah? nearly done on this, and then we'll get another coat of bone down on that servo skull. I love how this guy's randomly just got a servo skull on his base. No reason, it's just, it needs to be there apparently. The human body isn't the senses. The senses are part of the human body. It's different. So I get the point you're trying to make, I just don't think you're correct. The back vents will also do with this, but we'll properly just flood those a little bit. It's not going to have a massive effect because this is kind of orange that we're painting over now. Although apparently orange is also an illusion because it's just, you know, not green. Or probably not cyan, you know. So if we flood that in, a bit more saturation of it will help out. So there we go, there's our yellow, nice and washed. Not a massive difference, but you can see some more of those details, like these little bits of paneling and so on and so forth. They stand out a little bit more than they did a minute ago. So certainly once all this is a chance to dry in and cure, with a bit more detail going on those legs as well. This top section, that had the most difference because this is the brightest yellow on the miniature right up here. So therefore adding this in really, really changes things. Anne, how you doing? Paint that yellow? Absolutely. Not just yellow, you got red too. Look at that red. That's a nice red. It's a nice boulder shaped head. Terminator face, dog face. You tell me. You know what? It's going to be a third coat as well, so you just quickly grab the hairdryer, sort that out. Basie, what up, dude? Have I sent your stuff yet? I've sent half of the thing. I haven't sent your stuff yet because I needed a box for it. Basically, all of the people that just won Rivalcraft Cups had all of their stuff sent on Friday. So depending on where you live in the world, i.e. if you live in the UK, you'll be alright. You may have a package on Monday. Fish, that annoyed me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't gonna give it a 1-star review though. Apparently it's the thing that Disney are doing on their network, whatever, Disney Plus. They release 3 episodes and then they'll release 1 episode a week afterwards, and I didn't realise that. So that was annoying for me because it's like, right, Friday night, work is finished. I've done all the admin stuff I needed to do for things like the stream and so on. And strong time. Time for a stogie. Time for a nice glass of something. Gonna sit down, watch the boys, and enjoy. But never mind. They didn't, which was the right thing to do from their perspective, because otherwise it would have been a lie, let's be honest. Actually, before I do this, I just realised we've got some purity seals and stuff on here we could do with giving a quick base coat of that bone as well. I think they avoided all non-ambiguous phrasing. So, sorry, they avoided all. Yeah, they avoided all non-ambiguous phrasing. So it'd be, say things like, you know, season 2 out this weekend. Well, the season was out. It didn't say the whole season would be out. Or like watch on 4th September or released 4th September. You know, something along those sorts of lines. Rather than watch all of season 2. But now we know. And it's annoying because it was something I really wanted to watch. I would rather if this sort of thing happened on something I didn't want to watch. But now I know, so it's okay. It gives me something to watch every Friday now. So I can't really be mad about that. Friday's normally my night where I don't really do anything Warhammer related. I try and have a complete night away from the hobby. So I don't watch any streams, which is annoying because I'd like to sit and watch Aid Cook stream because he's great. But I also know that certainly through being at home with lockdown and everything else and spending sort of 16 hours a day here, either here or at the other desk where the computer is, that I need time away from all this sort of stuff. So. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to the end and get disappointed. I saw it said watch episodes 1 to 3 now, and I'm like, wait, is it 3 episodes long? That can't be right. Maybe they're uploading more. And whilst episode 1 and 2 were playing, I just did a little bit of light Googling and found that that wasn't the case. But it's okay. Like I said, is it the way I wanted to spend my Friday night? Yes, because I watched a good couple of episodes of it. I probably would have watched 1 or 2 more and then gone to bed. So it's not like it was an entire day's worth of planning or whatever that had gone awry. So I can't be mad. Right, I'm putting a really soft brown wash on this. This is just using some strong tone. This is the Better Than Agrax Earthshade wash. It's just better. Just better, guys. You need to get on board. Embrace the Army Painter wash. They're great. Their regular paints are a bit poo. Don't use those. And then we're just going to take some slightly thicker strong tone. And I'm going to use that on the dog face. I'm just going to shade down some of that red a little bit. Brown's a great colour to shade red because dark red is basically a brown. So this does a fantastic job of sorting all that out. There's not a lot to do here. We are recess shading it, same as with the armour though, so we're just dropping this into all those little nooks and crannies, especially when you're getting around the eye. Shit, is Lulu here? Lulu, are you here? Need to know what colour you do your eyes, dude. Don't tell me you don't paint them. That's just criminal. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if they had said, right, watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 this Friday, and then the rest, that would have been a better way of handling it. But equally, like, when you tuned in for the first time, it did say watch episodes 1, 2, and 3, and I appreciate not everyone saw that, as we've seen already today. But it's not like they were lying to you. You know, it's just not. Ice Bright Blue, Lulu, you're there. Happy days. Cool. Blue eyes, not a problem, mate. We'll do blue lenses on all of this guy as well then. And the Terminator, the old school Terminator head has got this little lens at the top. I'm never really sure what that was meant to be. I always thought maybe a torch. And we'll do that blue as well. He's also got a little gem on his belt buckle. We'll do blue too. And also, Lulu, what do Terminators have on this shoulder pad? They've got the Crux Terminatus on this side. What's the dealio over here? What's occurring? TV guide. Yeah, man. So glad those were a thing of the past. Like, that was such a phenomenal waste of paper. Do you not remember teletext? The first ever internet for sort of public use. That was crazy. Squad markings. Ah, okay. So we got free reign on that. Alright, sweet. Have you got any of the Terminators in your army? Or have you got any of the Terminators? I imagine they're not in your army because they're currently a bit pap. But do you have any of the Terminators? Right, so what we've done here, we just put down a quick coat of very thin strong tone. And then we're just coming back in with some less thin stuff. And we're just dropping that on the middle. So this will get picked up by the very thin coat we put down a minute ago. It's got a lot of water in it. And just settle nicely into and around these crevices. And across the middle there, it's just going to fill that nice little middle void for us without it being too harsh. It'll blur out naturally because of the that thin coat you put down earlier on. Same sort of thing, just there on that purity seal. Terminators will be chapter symbol with squad number. Oxfords have a chapter symbol with squad note on that shoulder. Your Terminators are all ultras. Okay, so maybe a chapter symbol then is what we're going for. Alright, sweet, no problem. Let's paint some red. While all the washes are drying, let's paint some red. So we're going to get some Kato red base, some Thramar black from P3. You can use any black, even the Citadel black is okay. This one I prefer because it just covers a little bit better. Okay, I'm not going to perpetuate the argument, so let's just cut it off now. Because there's fucking pointless arguing over this. At all. I don't see how it's like any kind of bad business practice. They didn't promise you one thing and deliver another. So, let's move on. Also, I'm going to guess that's Shitwork 7, which is great. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Right, red and black mixed together is a great base coat for red. You end up with just a really nice dark, sort of ruby-ish red. And you can go super, super dark with this if you want to. Like all the way into like I suppose like a Japanese red oak, maybe even mahogany if you're careful with your blend, your mix. But it's just a really, really nice way of doing a red base coat. And that's what we're going to do on the Chest Eagle. So it's just get a rough base coat down. Now we're not worried too much about the edges as long as they don't hit the yellow, we're okay. Because on the next coat, that's when we'll be a little bit more careful and hit all of those right down to the chest armor. Oh, that's a bullet! I've been trying to work out what this was. I thought it was like a misshapen angel or something. What's off? Inks, what up? Doing well. How about you? I'm going to paint Batman who laughs with a smile on his face, clearly. Rocky, I'm not surprised. Are you sure we're not painting like a Great Redeemer Slaanesh for you instead of Magnus? I mean, too late now, admittedly, but something very wrong with you, dude. Heavy Grav Terminators would be cool. I'm just expecting to see more in the kind of Eliminator line. And I imagine when there's a full box set of those rather than the multi-part stuff that we've got now, that will probably be the case. And it'll probably be multiple data sheets. There was some sort of siege data sheet that was leaked a long time ago. It was a Primaris thing. So, it's Primaris rendering. I think it did pretty good. Nice, dude. Just white to black. Hey, that's good, man. It's good practice. Because that means you're getting your values right. And that's the main thing about blending, is making sure that you're hitting that value properly. The hue you can adjust on the fly. But that's an important one, that white to black and black to white. Jay threw a link for the freehand I used to use it in there in Discord. Oh, nice, dude. Might do. I might review it and then sort of tweak it for my own use. Because I'm just trying to train myself in how to freehand rather than how to freehand an Imperial Fist logo. Because I want to be able to use the skill as a transferable skill for anything. Like, fuck it, paint a dragon, whatever. Then I may not follow it exactly, but I really appreciate you sending it over, because it's all good help. We got a little bit of help from Pedders, a little bit of free advice on freehanding, and his freehand video I'm going to watch is like how to do basic freehand. Super useful, I imagine, for this. I need coasters, I think. Right, Purity Seals, Lulu. Did you do those red for your wax seal? Nice, man. Excellent. Get all of the whips in the whip. We will be doing the whip later on, as always. I'm going to say yes to begin with. Yourself playing or playing a game of Civ 6. As a frustration, I finished a game of Civ and it took way longer than planned. Okay. Use a Mohawk carpet tile as a coaster. Could do. Could do. I mean, you've seen how dirty things get on his desk with the airbrush overspray and so on, though. Right. And that's white. That's going to come out horrible. Very quickly. Like, very, very quickly. He's going to be so bad. Can't we see Maggie? Nice, dude. Well, I'm hoping to get started on him in terms of a construction, building, on perhaps Tuesday. And Damien will be picking up the base once we've pre-marked where the feet and stuff go, so he knows where to sort of sculpt up to on Sunday when he rocks up. No, actually, no, Saturday he'll pick it up when he comes to mine for some dinner pre-tournament. Rock caught from ground investigations that carried out as coasters. That's cool. That's super cool. I like that. That's quality. Right, let's do some more work on that chest eagle. Let's get that done next. Let's just do it. Fully finished. Let's do it. Gonna take some more Kador red. Gonna mix that in with our red black that we just used as a base. Gonna get that a little thinner, and then I'm gonna paint a load of highlights on this bad boy. "140 meters below ground on Anglesey." That's amazing, man. Danny, that sounds awesome. So using the edge of the brush, keeping very light brush pressure to just hit all of these wings now. So we'll start out with the easy one, get our eye in, make sure the colour progression that we're going through is okay as well. We've got one more highlight to do after this, which is when we're just going to use pure Kador red and really bring this up to a nice strong finish for the red. Still debating whether to do the bullet red or not. It just looks weird. I don't get why they've decided to do a bullet on a Terminator. It's out of scale for a Stormbolter and stuff too, so who knows. So here we're painting the ends, say about 2/3 of each of the feathers. So Rocky, did we get a finished unit of Space Wolves out of you yet? I appreciate you've had very big things happen recently. Just like to commend you on the great lengths you've gone to and the commitment you've shown in trying to get out of painting the squad of Space Wolves. Fuck it, we'll do it red. Otherwise we'll end up painting it like brass or something that'll look weird. It's guided me to training through my airbrush and quite pleased with the results. Awesome. It's a marksman honor. Okay. I guess this guy's a good shot with a Stormbolter then. Coming in for a second pass on all of these. And the best things, of course, about using paint that is nice and thin is that you get to do several passes with the same highlight color because you're still building that opacity. You can do like 5 or 6 with the same highlight if you need to really get it up to that full opaque level you might be wanting before you move up and change any of the values for it. Well, I suppose you change any of the hues for it. The value you're getting by repeating that step many times if you need to. Posted 2 minutes in the whip going. Nice. Plans out to buy your Custodes Codex or wait. No one knows when they're going to be, dude. So if you want to play Custodes and you've got most of an army together, then you may as well. Alternatively, you could just sub to the app and then you've got all the codexes until they get released in 9th. Like Custodes was, what, about 2 years ago? But there's still a lot that you've got to do between now and that coming out again, I guess. I'd just sub to the app. I genuinely like the app now. Like, honestly. I genuinely like it. I think the rules, it's really fucking good. The way they've remanaged the rulebook in there, it makes all of that very easy to find. Anything you need to. So, yeah, I'm converted. I'm not going to defend the launch of the app, which, as someone that works in app development, I can tell you was a shit show. But I think that's also very self-evident. But yeah, as it stands now, like right now, the app's good. It's getting there. Well, they've said that they will do by then. Obviously, that's still like a, is it going to be ready or not? You know. But they have said that it will. And like I said, certainly the rulebook feature is great. The individual books and codices being in there is nice. Certainly helps resolve things in a fast manner because they're relatively easy to find through. As long as you know the name of what it is you're looking for as well. If you're looking for a particular strat, it's better if you know the names. You can search for it rather than scrolling through a load of them, because that's still a little bit of a ball ache. That's still easier when you've got 2 pages in front of you. But overall, I rate the app at the moment. Still waiting for their army builder and hoping that beats the pants out of Battlescribe. Not through any lack of sort of love for Battlescribe at all. I've been using Battlescribe for, I don't know, like 5 years or something stupid. It's amazing. Love it. But I really, really want the GW official one to be absolutely the king of army roster creators. And hoping they do too and they make it that. Right, so we want these highlights now to be super, super skinny because we want to hit enough of the wing, like the little feathers, to give us a nice line underneath each of these. And then after we've done that, we'll come in and we'll just touch the ends up a little bit more. Like so. And that way it's going to really help delineate, like really get the differences between each of those feathers for us. Now if this still isn't enough difference by the time we finished it, that's fine. We can come in with a wash, just hit the recesses, and we're good to go. Notice how we're drawing our brush strokes away from the center towards the edge that we want to give the extra bit of highlight to as well. Can anyone tell me in the chat why specifically we're doing that? There's a reason. There's a reason for everything we do. Sometimes there's a bad reason for it too, but you know, most of the time it's positive. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to knock the exposure up a touch as well. There you go, you can see that red a little bit better now. Yeah, Fish, I mean, any kind of competition is good though, breeds success. Because there's things that we all hate about Battlescribe. Like, there's parts of Battlescribe you're like, yeah, it's just a ball ache. And so, if the GW app is, let's say it's as good as Battlescribe, comes out and they're like on par, that's a fucking miracle as far as I'm concerned. But, if they are equal, then it pushes your mate to just go a little bit further and a little bit better with his coding. Yeah? And maybe it also pushes GW to go a bit better. Maybe he gets a bit better and they have to catch up. And, you know, it's kind of this thing going on. People have got 2 different things that they can use then. Nice support Battlescribe. I pay them my money every year. And everyone should. Somebody's put their hard work and effort into that and it's £1. So has anyone got any ideas? Des, I feel, is on the right track. Why we're using brush to go from the inside to the outside. Oops, wrong red. With these highlights. This one's harder because I'm right-handed, basically. Oh, cock. Phew. Okay, we're actually just not going to get the angle on this because that bloody gun's in the way. Brightest point where the brush ends. Yep, that's basically it, man. Cakefist, they are. I mean, that's the combat roster. What do they call it? The battle roster is part of the app, and it's due soon. I'd assume that it will probably be out by October, so that the new codexes can come out and you've got full functionality of it. So I'm guessing that's their goal, but who knows? That's the big one for me, man. Is like, shit. I need to change this back to a patrol, or I need to change the detachment to whatever. Cool. Remember what's in there. Add a new one. Copy it all over. Delete that one. That's a pain. The GW one will have points. Guaranteed. Cervantes. How's it going, man? How are you? Right, can we highlight any of the red? That went up to the brightest red. Let's grab a little bit of Flash Gets Yellow out. Because that red will need to highlight up with a little bit of orange. Whereas I want to keep that chest eagle nice and dark. Cheers to me, Spruce. Also, whilst I was shit on GW for a lot of their things, like their hobby holders, their paint bottles, most of their paints. In fact, there's not a lot of their paints I use, but some of the ones that I do use are superb. Perfect. Flash Hits Yellow, Troll Slayer Orange, these two are... Of course they want to sell you a codex, and we should all fucking support them by buying the codex for the army you play. Not downloading them from third-party, like, Russian Facebook sites and things like that. That shouldn't be a thing at all. Because you want to keep making rules, you want to keep improving the game that you play. Well, that's got to come from somewhere, so buy the fucking book. People should not be going to China for their Forge World needs. Yeah, there's someone that I played against a couple of weeks ago who told me, "Oh, I'm starting a Demons of Chaos army, but I just need my China order to come through." And I'm like, what? You running the Forge World Greater Demons? She said, no, I'm just getting my Greater Demons from there because they're too expensive. And we had an argument about it. It was a civil argument, but you know, it was an argument. We both had points we were very passionate about. Yes, it's expensive. Playing Toy Soldiers is expensive. If you want a less expensive game, then take up Heroin. You know, that's all I've got for you on that one. But no one says it should be cheap. And there are plenty of cheaper miniatures out there from other companies that don't have the same production value, don't have the same level of detail, and so on. Like, go and play with some Reaper Bones miniatures if you're really worried about the cost of minis, right? They ain't great. They're not terrible, but they ain't great. You don't need this to live, so fucking put your money up. Run over. Alright, let's get some highlights in on these Hazard Stripes, keeping them nice and skinny. But like, that's already popping on that red. People's justification about the cost to get so many things development wise. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right? Like, oh, the new Tepis model is £105. That is expensive. I'm not gonna lie. That's like, ooh. Hang on. Might not get that. Now, if he's super good and his rules are amazing, and everyone's like, oh, I need him in my army. Sure, there's an element of pay to win going on there. There is. But they can only ever sell one of those for every player that plays High Elves, Cow Elves, Lumineth. And so, as a result, all of the development that went into that, the cost of creating the molds and everything else has to be recouped by only those players, which is a small subset of the people that play Age of Sigmar. So you need to sell more of that mini to make it back. If that mini was 30 quid, yes, they'd sell a load more, but they might not sell enough to be able to make back the results of the molds and everything else, which means that they might not be able to make another new army for a year, maybe more. You might not get any new Warhammer releases if they don't recoup the money they've spent on the development, because it's not a viable business strategy. So sure, complain about how expensive it is, but please just remember that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, £5,000. He spent £5,000. I don't like the Teclis model. You think they change the rules too often? I think because of the Psychic Awakening series that we've had in 9th edition 40k, the rules changes have gone through more than they would normally change. I do expect it to die down a little bit. Mostly because it's an almost unattainable level of like release, yeah? There's only so much you can actually put through before your community is tapped out. There you go, much nicer now with that little highlight in there. Comradson, what up, dude? See, there you go. It could very well be pay to win. But whilst I dislike the look of the model, it's just not... I think the Cow Elves are a very polarizing release for GW. They're the Marmite release, right? You either absolutely love them, you're like, what the fuck is that? Before we do the helmet, we're actually going to stop highlighting red for a sec. Let me grab some Celestra Grey. I like this one. This is a good grey from GW. It's a base paint, so it's thick as fuck, but you've got to work with it. Sunday's ending in a few hours, working again. Never mind, mate. Got to pay them bills, yo. That's the way it is. So we're gonna use some Celestra Grey. We're gonna thin it down, and we're gonna paint a white stripe on this Terminator's helmet, because that's a thing, apparently. Another great tune. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw one straight line down the middle. I think what we'll do is make it as wide as his nose. So let's just go to the right width on there, because then that lines up nicely with the little face grill he's got going on down here. We're all good. Been 2 hours chopping wood and axe, ready for log burner Xmas. I already thought of how much my shoulder's going to hate tomorrow. Yep. Ceranthus, This is like the one thing I don't share with anyone. Anyone that asks me questions about my setup, always happy to answer questions about camera and things like that. The music is all on YouTube, that's all I'll say. But I'll never share the playlist. When the copyright strike started happening, and Time Warner and Universal had their Twitch bots on full go, which I can only support them for, you know, it's their music. We were all using it essentially illegally. So I can't be mad about it. Gutted, because it was fun, and it was great, and we got to rock the fuck out. But, you know, it was what it was. I scoured YouTube looking for some banging tunes that were free to use to create a playlist, and literally that evening, so the first evening that it was all like no copyright music pretty much everywhere on Twitch, I had maybe 10 to 15 streamers asking me for my playlist. I'm like, look, don't take this the wrong way, but I know why you're asking me for my playlist, so you can do the legwork for that. So no hard feelings, honest mate. But it's also nice to have something that's like personally like there as well. I bought the rights to a couple of songs because I like them. So there's a few tunes that I paid some money for being able to use them commercially, because Twitch is a commercial operation. Obviously, you know, we get our affiliate monies and all that sort of jazz, so got to look after all that. And for my intro theme, that's another piece of music that I bought because I wanted something that was sort of special. AC/DC for life, absolutely. So this is really weird, right? This is one of those weird coincidences. The last stream we did... Oh, that line's a bit dog-legged now. Bollocks. The last stream we did, we were talking a lot about music. We had probably a 20-minute conversation about just Queen, let alone the other banging music we were talking about. And literally directly after the stream, finished the stream, looked at my phone, had a notification from Tinder. Now, I mean, apparently that's how you date now in this day and age. It used to be you'd go up to a girl you liked in a bar and pull her hair and run away, or something like that at least, you know. And times have changed, clearly. So I look at this girl and yeah, she sounds cool. So I do the swiping thing. We get matched. She is a humongous music nerd. She loves rock and metal and all the old school shit. So just after the stream, we spent hours talking about music. End up meeting a girl who is very, very passionate about music. It was awesome. Weirdly coincidental, but awesome. Jay met his wife by clubbing her and dragging her back to the cave. Actually, like, I met my wife while I was at work. I used to work for a bank. She came in for an overdraft. She left with my phone number. Like, one thing you gain by not being a particularly good-looking lad, because, you know, self-confidence. I've got fucking bags of that. Because I've heard the word no. Usually in that tone of voice. Just, no. Many times. After the first several, you don't care anymore. There we go. Right, so we've got a nice grey line now on his face. Really adds a lot to that though, doesn't it? That's quite a nice little extra feature. Really pops off the red. Love this. Let's grab ourselves some white. We're going to use the P3 Morrow White because it's way better. One of the Games Workshop's worst paints actually is their white. It's bad. No real strength to it. But Morrow White, good, strong pigment. You could go like whole hog and get yourself some like acrylic titanium white, stuff like that. Winter and Newton do it in tubes. I've also got some white acrylic ink on standby should I need it. And what we're going to do is going to take this and the Celestra Grey, and we get about a 50-50 mix of the two. So a much, much lighter grey than we've just put down, but still not quite full white. And the reason for that is we want somewhere to go with our highlights from this. Ceramite white, is that what they call it? Ceramite white. It is absolutely pap. It's just not good. Gelgo Born, welcome to stream. Name I don't recognise. So I use a lot of P3 paints. For loads of reasons, actually. Firstly, they're really good. They have a really, really strong pigment strength, which is borne out by the fact that they have a finer grind to their pigment. So what you need to think about when you're really looking at paint from a sort of technical standpoint is that some paints will have a pigment that is larger and some paints will have a pigment that is smaller. Certain colours will only have larger pigment than others. The smaller the grains of pigment are, the more of them you can pack into one space. So imagine it a little bit like pixels on your monitor. Okay. Remember when we had like the 800 by 600 resolution screens, and they were still this big, but they didn't have so much pixel density, so things looked a little bit blurry and a little bit just meh. And now we've got like 4K and 8K screens, except they're still this big. They pack in more of that density. Things look better on those screens. The same is true for your pigments. If the individual bits that make up, in this case, the white that we're going to use, are smaller, you can get more of them into one space, which means you've got much more density there. You've got this amazing, amazing white. And P3 paints generally have a finer grind to their pigment, which means you're going to get a better strength out of it on the miniature. So they're red. It's red. Super red. Love it. So that's why. P3 I use a lot. Scale Color I use for a lot of their metallics. Vallejo I use for another set of metallics. And a couple of their paints as well. Mostly don't have them though. Like I don't have a humongous amount of Vallejo stuff. So that's the only reason why I don't use it as much. Calden Raven, I think that's a damn good story. Are you still telling her to cheer the fuck up? And is she still asking you what the fuck you know about her being happy? Because that would be about right after 15 years. Jager, what up there? Right. So we're going to leave a little of that grey colour in the recesses. I'm going to use that as a little bit of a shadow. So we're blending our highlights upwards with this. And we're just going to pop this white down on pretty much everything else. I mean, this is 50-50 between the Celestra Grey and our Morrow White. We need to make sure we've got somewhere left to go for our highlights. We also want to make sure that the grey we've put down is left in the shadow, so we've got progression. I'm almost never going to get a super smooth gradient off of something like this because it's a bit of a pig to blend and we're on a very small surface as well. So smoothness is less important. I mean, if we were looking at like a Golden Demon miniature, then smoothness is important. But smoothness is less important on something this size than the contrast that you've got. Just make sure that, especially on these larger, flatter areas, you do get some of that gradient coming through. It's difficult to see on the camera because we turn the exposure up just to make sure the yellow still looked properly like yellow. So it's about right there. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, mate. Perfect sense. Been off being a noise marine. Awesome, dude. What variety of noise marine are you? So for this one, for instance, we're going to make sure we get a strong border, both left and right. And then for the main part in the center, just doing about the front half-ish, maybe slightly more. Let it dry for a sec, then we'll do the whole thing again in that to build it up a little bit more with that opacity. And this is the very first Winsor & Newton brush I've had. It's had an ever so slightly too long dyed hair, but that will wear down very quickly. And we'll have a bang-in brush very soon. Just make sure all that's nice and tidy. The reason I bring up the thing with the dyed hair is, especially when painting white, it can be a bit of an issue. White tends to dry on your bristles and your airbrush needle a little quicker than other colours. And I've never fully managed to work out why. But it's to do with the lighter pigments, I know that. Never fully got to the bottom of it. Right, let that dry, and we'll come in with the white. Drop G, heavy AF, hardcore, almost anger on levels of anger in the music. Guitar playing is passable at best. Right, so we go for enthusiasm over, say, ability. I feel that if I picked up a guitar, it would be very heavily weighted in that way as well. I'd probably pick up the right end in 3 tries. That's all I've got. Always wanted to play the guitar. Always wanted to play the electric guitar specifically. Everyone wants to be a rock god, but it never happened. And whilst there's never a point where it's too late to start, I'm now just too busy. So. So there we go, hitting these white highlights. Now look at that bulldog face. Isn't he pretty? Super pretty. We'll do the lenses in a second and a little bit of the silver highlights. Shit, what time is it? 10:30. Plenty of time. Let's get these edges really brought up though. Because I'd like to be able to get the head attached to the Mini this evening. It would be super cool if we can do that. Cool, we'll let the white cure down for a little bit, then we'll come back and do those lenses. For now, let's do the black highlights on this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some Thramar black that we've got on the palette, and then I'm going to add in a tiny amount of that Celestra grey to make our own not quite black grey. So most pre-mixed greys are actually too light for this. I want something that's really, really dark. So what I've mixed now is darker than anything that I own on the paint rack there. That's a grey. Just a tiny bit of white on the guide here. There we go. Come here, fucker. Make sure the FW ink. We got it right here, dude. It's great stuff. That super good stuff. Yeah, the other way of doing it, because that is quite thin, the other way of doing it, if you need to really control something, is with airbrush thinner. Airbrush flow improver. Sometimes you just need it to be a little bit thicker. It's a good way of doing it. But that white ink, we use a lot. so handy, especially for things like freehand as well. In fact, all of the white freehand on this dude was just that ink. That's all that was used on that. Really nice stuff. Speaking of Space Marines, so we just picked up our little Retributor there. I've got no real interest in doing a Retributor's army, but I am considering doing a Space Marine army. Now, obviously, Space Marines are the big bad in the meta, and they have been for over a year, and I've talked about that at length, so let's not go through it again. But it seems I have like 1,000 points of Marines somewhere buried on the shelves of shame there. Sloth Zerker, absolutely it's blue tack. There you go. You can get a load of these shot glasses. If you type !Cron, C-R-O-N, in, you'll get a link to a YouTube video I did. Well, I performed in, I guess. I didn't do it. The editing was done by somebody else. You'll get access to a YouTube vid that I did where we painted 110 Necrons over the weekend. And we didn't quite get the last 5 done, but everything had base coats and the like done to it. Now, one of the ways that we managed to get that done even close to within our time is by having everything pre-set up, and that includes models on shot glasses. And I probably spent about 10 to 15 quid buying enough shot glasses and enough blue tack for an entire army to do. And that's a lot better than spending hundreds of pounds on Citadel paint handles. Mostly because, as I've demonstrated before, once you finish streaming, you can at least have a drink. Is that tiny black highlight in there? Super dark. We don't want this to look grey, we want it to look black. It just needs that little bit of shade. Let's do the Stormbolter and his fingers. Yeah, Tom has got great comedic timing. So Tom's occasionally in the stream. Shaky Tom. And Tom does all of the list reviews for the Hellstorm guys. So he learnt to edit from Mikey, who is someone that really does have that sense of that sort of comedic grasp. Really good stuff. Sloth Circa, it's so much cheaper. So much cheaper. Like, each one of those paint handles is 6 quid. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 32. I've got 32 minis on shot glasses right now. If you times that by 6, you're looking at nearly 200 quid's worth of GW hobby holders. And you can't put something like this on a GW hobby holder. Not really. So this is the finished article of the Aeronautica planes, by the way. We've got all of the planes done. A little bit of weathering going on as well, but they're looking banging. I've just got the bases to finish, probably tomorrow throughout lunch break, and maybe a little bit pre-work and post-work before I go to bed. But that's that commission completely banged out then. Super happy about that. Andrew, if you're here, thank you very much for giving me that commission. I'm sorry that I said I wouldn't do another one earlier on, but they are actual aids to paint. They're so fiddly. Everything so fiddly. Imperial go up on YouTube too. Yes, it will. I just haven't put it up yet. I did get Tom to send me the full uncompressed file just so that I could have it and upload it, because I thought it was hilarious. I really, as soon as he sent me that, I'm like, yes. I absolutely know I've made the right choice with Tom editing this, and that we can work together. Because whilst he's obviously used to working with Mikey, who you guys all know, great friend, there's a slight difference in the tone of Mikey's stuff and my stuff. And he nailed it in that video so well. And this is why I want you all to share it, so that Tom can get the recognition. Let's try and get him some more work, so he can spend his life editing Warhammer shit and having a laugh. But the blooper reel, my god. I'm not sure what take this is. 6J. 6. Right. Seafish, the app is good, and it will get better. I'm hoping the battle roster can replace Battlescribe. But just the information that's in there is super useful. I was using it last month to list check people for the event I ran, Out of the Darkness. And I'll be using it again from tomorrow to list check people for the Bad Luck Brawl. So seeing, this is very, very dark. It's just getting those little highlights in there just to bring out some of that detail, but we're keeping this nice and dark. We want the bolt gun to be a very definite black, Stormbolter, sorry, because the rest of this mini is super bright. I mean, look at how bright the yellow is, yeah? We want this to be a massive contrast. Still not sure what colour to paint this this skull. Like, really trying to avoid painting it gold, but Lulu, what colour do you paint all of the frou-frou crap that goes on Space Marine bolt guns? Stuff in my Geo, yeah, saw that. There's also want the Chaos Demon Codex. Yep, there you go, man. And of course, it's got the Engine War stuff there for your demons. Like that book's there in its entirety, essentially. There's no fluff bits, just the rules. And so is the War the Spider, I think, for custards. So, if you think about how much money you'd spend on each of those codices, sorry, you get all that for your £4 a month subscription. You got a good couple of months out of that before you start even coming close to breaking even. At which point, who knows? You may have your book. I got the PA books I needed, but then you realise always run it. Yeah, man. Everything from 8th, with the exception of the Vigilus. Yeah, I don't think the Vigilus stuff's in there, because that's no longer allowed in 8th edition match play and so on. Which I know a few people were bummed about, but I don't give a damn. I didn't get a Vigilus book. Fuck you all. If I can't have it, no one can have it. In fact, out of all the armies that I have, only one of them got a Vigilus upgrade. And it was demons, and it was only Khorne demons, which means that I actually can't use it because I don't have any Khorne demons. So, know thy enemy, too many sprues, that is absolutely right. That's the reason why I get all the codexes. Any that I plan on using, I purchase. Any that I don't, I basically read Battlescribe for shit. And scour the internet for like rules on their strats, or ask friends, you know, that have that army to give me the lowdown on shit. You know, nothing wrong with that. Oh, who's been keeping up with the Tabletop Titans tournament? Anyone been watching that? Fish, some of the new art is fucking spectacular. Like, some absolute masterpieces in the new books. Crazy. Yeah, absolutely, Des. But you can't use any of the specialist attachments. However, the Chaos Codex still has a lot of those rules in it, and that's still obviously very legal. It was the final game. Yeah, I was hoping for no spoilers for people, but never mind. It was a great game. Super good game. It was kind of the expected finish for me, though. I genuinely thought that was what was going to happen. Harleys are strong. Harleys are super strong. I actually agree with the guys on there. Harley's maybe the strongest army in the game right now. And there's a load of builds for them that are coming that are fucking mental. Absolutely mental. Hordequins is going to be up there. Right, on the glove especially, just to give a little bit more to that hand, I want to just go up a little tiny bit on the highlights. I'm going to take a little bit more Celestial Grey, add that back into the mix. So you've got a kind of just darker than Battleship Grey kind of feel going on. And then we'll put some quick specular highlights at the points of the knuckles on this. So specular highlight is a dot, basically, for anyone that doesn't understand that reference. Like a little ting of light when you see something that's kind of reflective. And if anyone is ever contemplating some non-metallic metals, specular highlights will feature very heavily in that paint job. So something to be aware of. To really pop stuff out without actually changing much in the way of the overall tone. Then we go back over to the bolter, the Storm Bolter. I'm going to do the same on a couple of these bits here. We're not going to go wild. I'm going to keep it looking nice and dark. Like I said, it needs to contrast dramatically with the armor. It should be like a black hole that sort of exists rather than a big feature. There you go. So just those little couple in there. Suddenly some more of those details just start to come out of you a little bit, yeah? And that's it. Not a lot, just a tiny few. Hey, it was over fairly quick, yeah. But it was still a good game. I really enjoyed watching it because the decision making was great. I won't go too in depth with it because people should watch it. Give them the viewer count. Yeah. Right, let's go back to the head. We've got plenty of time. Oh, cool, it is there. Plenty of time to do those lenses. So let's get some blues going on. Let's do... Not that, that's a horribly bright blue on this shelf. Let's do some of that. A Signar blue highlight, I believe. We normally go into Lothern blue, which we might still do. Let's see what we've got from scale. A horse with a saxophone. That is a great name. That's a really cool name. Let's go into that. Azul Caribe, or Caribbean Blue. That looks baller. And we're going to grab some Sickly Skin as well, which is one of the best colours to highlight blue with. Not attachments. Cool, that makes sense. Is there much else you can use from that book? Question though, Chaplain or Librarian for Space Marine seems to be a big debate now, so what would you take, Chap or Lib? I would probably take Chaplain for loads of reasons. You can still have the Wise Orator Warlord trait from the Psychic Awakening books, and I think you have to take that because you can't reroll litanies, and he gets to do 2, which means he starts each game with 4. That's the rerolls to hit in combat, whatever your chapter 1 is, and then whatever other 2 you want to take. It also stops your opponent getting things like a Border Witch. It rules out a few of the secondaries that you can get. If you only got the choice of one or the other, then you are limiting yourself by not taking a Librarian as far as the mission goes, which is arguably the most important thing. But Chaplains are great. Yeah, I mean, Fish is talking about a Slaplin, so it's like the Smash Captain, the Slaplin. He's solid. Only thing about that is you tend to then give him the powers which would buff himself. So there's one to make him like Super Saiyan, and that's great. But Blood Angels, maybe. But you can take Astaroth anyway. So I'd say it's maybe chapter specific, but +1 to wound the nearest visible target with Marines is fucking sick. Like, that's wrong in how strong that is. I would never take Mephiston, ever, actually. And I love the miniature, so from that perspective, I'd love to put him in the army. But Mephiston's rubbish. Let me quantify that. Mephiston's a lot of points for what he does. And a Librarian Dreadnought is a better Mephiston for less. That fucking box is so strong. When you take Astaroth, and the reason you take Astaroth is very simple. I've had this done to me a couple of times, and it works really, really well. One of my regular practice partners, Danny, used to run a hybrid mix at the end of 8th of Blood Angels, Iron Hands, and Imperial Fists. So it'd be Fists, triple battalion, Fists Artillery and some Scouts, Iron Hands, Intercessor Spam, and Blood Angels characters, like the hero Blood Angels, and some Scouts. And it worked really, really well, because Astaroth uses his Massive Doom ability on turn 1. So everything that is 6 inches, you roll a dice. On a 2+, it basically gets +1 to hit. On a 6, there's an extra effect as well. I think it's exploding 6s. I can't remember. It never came up. On a roll of a 1, it fails, and that guy takes a mortal wound. So your Smash Captain, who's right next to Astaroth, on turn 1, Astaroth goes Massive Doom. Cool. Here we go. So you're off your Smash Captain. On a 2+, which you could re-roll back then. Can't now, but it's still worth taking. On a 2+, your Space Marine Smash Captain goes, cool, I've got a Thunder Hammer, and now I hit you on 2s. Uses the, from, I don't know, Golden Light Echoes when they come in to do the long charge. Jump Assault, whatever it's called, I've forgotten. When you jump up in the movement phase, you come down at the end of the movement phase, right? And then that Smash Captain goes in and nails something to death. There's so many easy targets, even now in turn 1. As a Knight player, I'm going to lose a Knight. Because if Massive Doom goes off, on average dice, out of 7 attacks, 4 base, +1 on the charge for Imperium Sword, if you give... Oh, no, you take Artisan. +1 on the charge for being a Space Marine, that was it. And then +1 for, like, you roll D3, so that's normally +2, so that's 7 attacks, right? On Wings of Fire, that's the one. So with 7 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, you hit 7 times. You're then wounding my Knight on 3s, because you're a Blood Angel, so you get +1. And you just destroy it. You absolutely destroy it. And it's savage. It's brutal. Lenses, I've got 2 to do on this guy. So let's not forget... Well, 3. I've got the Stormbottom one to do. I've got 3 to do on that guy. We've got a couple on the skull. And we've got his actual eye to do. So we start off with a mix of black. So that's that Thramar black we put on our palette earlier on. And a little of that Signar blue. Get a nice dark blue to start off with. Not crazy dark, just, you know, Maybe like a good navy blue. So you would definitely take Astaroth. And he knows 2, can cast 2. And he's a fucking weapon in combat too. Like the man is a baller. He does work. I've had him drop a knight in one go before. No, nearly drop a knight in one go before. He had taken some damage beforehand and he just really finished it off. But we're talking like he did 16 wounds or something to it. Just got that ever so slight on the red, which is really annoying. So right now, the typical Blood Angels like HQ is Astaroth, the Smash Captain, and the Libby Dreadnought. Those 3 are what you take. Because that Libby Dreadnought is, especially if it's still alive on turn 3, fucking hell, that's a monster. Going to No Retreat at the end of the month, and there's a guy, Joe Moscadini. So the guy that paints the glorious plasma, he's going. And gonna hang out with Joe. He's a red wine guy, so share a cheeky drink or 2. But I'll probably, if I'm doing well at the event, I'm gonna have to play his Blood Angels. So, you know, tis the one Primarch I want to come out is Angron. I know the Loyalists are kind of like a little outnumbered now. Fuck 'em. Fuck 'em. Angron. Angron and the return of Chaos Demon King. That's what we want. Because I really am gutted that that's the one codex from 8th edition that didn't make it across. Because I really like that army. I was going to pick one up towards the end of 8th. And obviously didn't. I thought it's alright when they come out in 9th. Sorry, 7th to 8th was what I meant there. When they come out in 8th, I'll get it then. And it didn't happen. And I want Angron, because he's a monster. Angron and the new Berserker kit, yes. Yes, all of the yes. I had a Khorne Berserker army back in 3.5, and I took the Khorne Berserker kit that was still out then, all that time ago, and used the Chaos Fantasy Marauder kits to chop off their arms and stuff, and we had Khorne Berserkers that were bare-chested, some of them just had like sleeveless power armor, some of them just had one arm out, you know, there was loads of little variations among them, and they looked awesome. But that kit is absolute dog shit now, let's be honest. Old Man Russ. Yeah, I'd like Lemon Russ if he was full beast mode. We're not talking like a little bit of a beard and some long hair and slightly longer like canine teeth. I'm talking full werewolf. I'd love that. Like, how the fuck is he going to get on with Bobby G and all these guys, right? He isn't. So then we get a Russ and a Space Wolf chapter that's split from the Imperium. That'd be sick. Jackal King Russ and Rune King. Yeah, that sounds awesome. As far as loyalist guys go, it'd have to be Dawn. If I had to choose a loyalist Primarch to come back, it's gonna have to be Dawn. However, Valrak would never shut up at that point. Like, we've proclaimed Dawn! That would be all we'd get. just with more chips and gravy in the voice. So, yeah. But he's the coolest out of all of the loyalist ones. I think, at least. Barak would literally explode. Vulcan, yeah, Vulcan would be cool, but Vulcan's a bit vanilla. He's had literally one cool moment in the entire heresy. The entire Horus heresy has one cool moment. It's one thing you've forgotten about my hammer. It's still a hammer. That's it. That's all he's done that's been cool. The rest of it was like, oh, I got tortured a bit. I'll tell you what would be cool. All right, the one loyalist Primarch that would be super cool to be brought back. Ferrus Manus, Primarch of the Lost and the Damned. Yeah, let's have that. Primarch Ferrus of the Lost and the Damned. The Demon Space Marines. I'd get behind that. I could really get behind that. Right, getting some of that Signar Blue highlight down in there. Just raw dog, like no blend with anything. We're just getting most coverage. Just leaving a little bit of that dark blue in the recesses. Want these to really stand out. This is like Optimus Prime now. There's a fanfic thing on YouTube a while back where they basically swapped the heresy sides. Yeah, the Dornian heresy. So that's been about for a long time. So somebody suggested what would happen if instead of Horus being the Warmaster and falling, it was Rogal Dorn. And I've never read the whole thing because I've never invested that much time into it. But I've heard about it a few times because most of my like all my loyalist stuff is based on traitor stuff. So I have Iron Warriors Knights. I have some Alpha Legion Space Marines. Yeah. Oh, sweet. But somebody then suggested, oh, it's the Dornian Heresy. And I, what's that? And they explained it to me. And it's not canon, so it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? But it does sound cool. It does sound very cool. So, unlike Gems, where we do the bottom right, we're doing the top left of all these lenses, and this is essentially how I differentiate the two. So, Gems get the bottom section done because the light passes through it, and that's how we kind of simulate that. Whereas anything that's lit up from the inside, like the lens, on the top. This, I'm going to suggest, because of all of this going on, and the pipes feeding through, is like data linked into his headset. He's got a bionic eye, maybe it's linked directly to that, so we're going to treat it as a lens that's lit up, rather than ordinarily a lens that would have nothing. It would just be like a piece of glass where we do the bottom. So, highlights on the top section for this bad boy. Right, first step of those are done. Let's grab ourselves a little bit of our really cool looking scale blue. Was it Azul blue? Caribbean blue. How pretty is that blue? That's a super cool blue. It's quite thick because it's a scale paint, so I need to thin this a fair bit. A little bit more. Cheers, Jager. You think Leon Ruff's going to be pissed when he gets back from his warp vacation? Probably. I tell you what I'd love. All right, I'd absolutely love this if fucking Lionel Johnson came back from underneath the rock as a Primarch of a Chaos Legion. Like, fuck you, Dark Angels. Fuck you all. We called it. All those memes about you guys being traitors. You're like, no, I promise. We're good, really. Have at thee. That Bjorn to talk sense into Russ. You'd get some, yes, you would. You'd get so much nerd rage. So many salty tears. Anyone else like think it's a good idea? Because I think it's a great idea. Let's get a petition to GW now. Let's get the requisite 10,000 signatures on it. And then, bam. Well, can you imagine if you could change anything in 40k by getting enough people to sign a petition? What would you change? What's the one change that you would make? I think I'd waste mine on that. Like, Chaos the Lion. That's it. That's all we need. It's just Chaos Lion Man. No, nothing else. Just that. Stab Erebus in the eyes over and over. My God, he's such a bastard. He's the actual bad guy in the Heresy. He's a complete and utter. The word I don't use on stream. He's one of those. Don't write it in chat. You want Big E to come back and butcher the Imperium? Or like wake up and be like, whoa. I said none of these things. Yeah. Lionel Johnson is still full of pride if you think of by chaos. No. You see, it's his prideful ways that led him to chaos. That and the fact he's, brought up on the planet of the damned and all that bollocks. Des, that's damn, that's a rough one. So the Big E would be like what? Big Erica? I'm guessing. Nips out some milk when he comes back. Ages later, his boss is still basically stuck and everything is still stuffed up apart from the Ultra Smurf. It's shiny and he's full of himself as ever. Yeah. Right. Those nice bright blue eyes we've got on our somewhat Optimus Prime looking head. Not a bad thing. And you're going to get a little bit of varnish put on these just to protect some of these details, and then we'll snap the head off of there and we'll pop him on the body, and we'll probably call that by the time we get to that stage maybe the end of the stream. See what else we've got a little bit of time for if possible. So get ready for the work in progress gallery. Exclamation point Discord. Get yourself over there. See what's going on in the whip. We'll do a good roundup through everything in there. Also, don't forget, guys, exclamation point whip and exclamation point mystery to see what's going on this month in terms of our giveaways. We completely forgot at 10 o'clock to unveil our first giveaway, so we'll do that soon as well. We got so engrossed in painting the fist. Speaking of Optimus, I picked up one of those Soundwave minis in my local game store. I was looking for Indomitus a couple months ago. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tempted to make him some kind of Sonic Dread. Oh yes. Oh yes. Absolutely. Legion of Damned are still in the Codex. They're great. I was super jealous of a friend who managed to get the special character store opening mini. He was one of the only people in our friendship group that had it. I was like, oh, he's so cool. And the guy stood there with his fucking arm up in the air and the chainsaw or whatever. Same dumbass poses that we had back then, but they were great. Right, it's got a little bit of sickly skin for our final highlight here. We use this instead of white, just it keeps that nice bit of blue and it won't get lost in the helmet stripe either. So a nice workable consistency. And then literally dot the I's. Boom, one helmet. Got a silver to highlight on that quick, but that's easy enough to do at a later stage with something like that. It's just that little grill at the front. So on the lens, sorry, on the gemstone here, just get a little higher towards the top. That wasn't quite in the right place. That's annoying. You can fix that though in a sec. Yeah, there's all those done. Like I said, going to grab some varnish. Ben Bear's currently hooving up Legion of Damned shoulder pads and bits from anyone who can make an army out of it. Nice. Nice. They're great minis. They're so cool. So full of character. But they're the old, like, pewter minis, and so therefore they're a bit pants. Can't see that being a thing at all, mate. Because ultras are definitely poster child. You know, may as well do this guy at the same time. Grab the hairdryer, sort that out. Still waiting on the Ripper, it needs to be delivered to him. Oh, dude. Dude, unlucky. Unlucky. Too many sprues. That's just harsh, man. Hurting my feelings. Right. So, varnish is dry. Europe. Let's remove this bit of red plastic. And because we super glued this on, we should just be able to snap it off. There you go. So we've got a little hole there, a little peg. That should fit nicely on there, which it currently is not. So try that again. And this is why we've just varnished this as well, because we're going to be handling it while we get this set up. Doesn't want to go in. Ah, there we go. There we go. Nice. Fucking nice. Look at that, boy. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let's do the power fist bit as well, because then at least our marine is fully set. Daddy Tubbs, there is only one matte varnish to use as far as I'm concerned, from a spray can, and that is Tester's Dull Coat. Yes, it definitely affects pigments, like definitely affects pigments, because as soon as you get a pigment wet, it stops being a, well, it's always going to be a pigment. Let's just say that you've used powders instead of pigments, because that's what you've used, right? It definitely affects that, because it turns your powder into paint, and that has different properties, right? So it will set and behave like paint instead of behaving like a powder. See, red and black hazards, definitely the way to go on that. Love that. Now when we do the highlights, we'll make sure we get a nice sharp highlight in here to delineate that side of the fist being different. Oh yeah. I'm not going to put the servo skull on because I want to get to all this detail still. But looking badass. He's going to raise some hell with that whammer. Also these were just bits of the sprue we came off of. Let's you know, reuse, recycle, all that bollocks. Happy days. So we've done some pretty good progression on this guy this evening. We went from like just the base color yellow and a little bit of silver going down to being probably about 70-ish% of the way to a finished mini. You know, I think realistically we're about that level. So we've got a load of yellow highlights to do on the next stream. We've got a little bit of work on this. There's not a lot of work to do on that. Got the base to do, of which there's loads of random bits of debris. So, you know, that is what it is. And we've got something to do on this shoulder pad, which may or may not be a full fist symbol. It might just be like a first company symbol or something else. Essentially, what I'm saying is I want to get this guy finished on the next stream so we can start Magnus, because that's the next commission that needs to be gotten on with. Also, Magnus. So, you know. So, make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday night for that. I'm going to do some freehand, going to do some highlights, going to get some basing done, all the cool stuff. Now, exclamation point win in the channel, and exclamation point mystery in the channel. The mystery one is the one that's important right now, but the win is always important. That win command is where you could win a £50 hobby voucher just by watching the stream. You don't need to be a subscriber, you don't need to do anything else, just stay here, chill out, earn some of our channel currency, that's meeps, and then once you've got enough to get a ticket, buy that ticket. You could win £50 to the hobby store of your choice, or the equivalent in whatever your country's currency is. You could also, however, win a mini painted just by me. Now this one is only for subscribers, so a good reason to subscribe, and also we give you 3,000 meeps for subscribing, so there's always the chance that that will give you enough to buy enough tickets to win that voucher as well. We have had double winners. It's happened, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. So the first mini of 3 to go into the mini painted by me contest is a store anniversary miniature. And we should probably just leave the mystery at that, I guess. You know, I don't think you guys need to know any more than that. Like, at all. Hey, you've got till the end of the month, Jade. So, you know, no rush on that. So between now and there's probably a payday. There's people in the chat getting angry about this. I mean, Jager, you know, cool your shit. This guy, or gal, this miniature, fuck it. Sergeant Joven! Oh! Isn't he fucking awesome looking? Look at that. That's an epic miniature. Mr. I'm just casually leaving my chainsaw buried in this orc dude. So cool. So cool. So this is one of the 3 minis going in for your potential winnings. We're going to have Sergeant Joven, one other model, and the contents of the mystery box. The box of mystery. Well, you say Smurfs. I mean, we painted the colour scheme of your choice, not whatever it's got on here. And this guy, whilst he may have some Smurf shoulder pad decal put on there, doesn't necessarily have to have one. So, you know, that's the first of 3 prizes. Remember, next Sunday we won't be streaming, so we won't have a new prize announced then, but we will announce both that and obviously show you the mystery box on the Sunday afterwards, which will be the 20th. Let's do some whipping. So here we go. We got Crazy Anked kicking it off again with Dante. Get some more work done on his conversion. Looking good, dude. Looking real good. I like the fact you've put a little bit of silver in there, breaks it up a bit. Very nice. Not that much to do. Not that much left. I think you need to do more on that axe blade though. It looks very flat at the moment. So darken down some more of the flat of the axe. Amp up your highlights on it. Get a bit more of a transition going across. It's going to take ages, but it's actually quite therapeutic. I really like painting power swords and blending through. You know. Danny, you don't need to do that, man. It's your birthday. You know, we should be buying you a drink, right? That's the way it works. And you can definitely do some OSL in those backpack vents. Like 100% you can do that. Good job though, dude. Good job. Right, Rocky, here we go. Rocky's been working on his Space Wolves. It's a decent grey, actually. I like it. It's not that kind of duck egg blue we got going on. And I know for a fact that Rocky's lights are garbage for taking photos in. Everything shows up kind of desaturated in whatever the light it is that he's got in his house. So, you know. This is looking good, dude. Looking very cool. Little butt shot. Yeah, that red's really nice, man, on the shoulder pad. Very warm in comparison. Big fan. Big fan. Keep it up, dude. Keep it up. Crownblade, working on... Oh, God, that's such a small picture. I know it's a dwarf, but come on, dude. Give us... It's a bit more, you know. Looking good, mate. The photo quality is a bit grainy, so I can't really make out much of the detail, but I like it. Overall colour scheme, pretty solid. Love the blues and the gold. Yeah, real good. Let's see if we've got a slightly bigger photo. No, unfortunately we don't. So, Cyberpunk Dwarf, looking good from what we can see of it. The sword looks a bit flat as well. That could just be the light. But again, same advice as I gave Crazy Anked. Get some darker bits in there, get some lighter bits in there. We bring it up to an absolute peak highlight here and there, and that'll look spot on. But I love the colour scheme. Good job, man. Good job. Right, Inks doing a Batman Who Laughs. So it's... I'm not really a DC guy. I know some of the characters, I've read some of the books, but I don't recognise this one. Batman with a scythe. And I can't work out what he's holding in the other hand. A chain, I think. He also looks a bit skinnier than I remember. Oh, it's Joker Batman. Right, that explains why he looks kind of slim. Got ya. Nice, looks cool. Have fun with that one. Then Clayface finished. Nice. I'm guessing this is somewhat dry brush heavy. It's unfortunately the only bit that's in focus there is like the wrecking ball hand that he's got at the back. It's hard to see the face, which obviously the most of the detail has got. But the bits of skin I can see look very textured, which, you know, Clayface, it makes sense. So a dry brush probably is okay for this, to give it that somewhat chalky clay texture. Yeah, nice work. Right, Danny. Here we go. So when are these... At least there's an undercoat and a zenithal highlight on that guy now. You've been teasing us with this for forever. Let's get it done. There's also now a pile of Sigmarite things which weren't there before. Okay, cool. Cool. What else we got? Yes! Getting a start on Nagash. Very cool. Very cool, mate. Want to see more paint on that guy. Here he is, looking like a fucking beast. This is such a cool mini. Such a cool mini. Sounds good, Danny. Yeah, good decision. So this was used, bought rather, with one of those £50 gift vouchers we gave away. Almost exactly became Nagash. Great reasons to sub. Love it, dude. Be careful with the clamps, unless that part's going to join something else, because you probably pull away some paint with that. Keldon, that's awesome, mate. Are they in the whip? Because let's see them. Yeah. Got a fire coming from the top. Ah, nice, mate. Very nice. And you have painted the wall. Yeah, exactly that. Rev is completely correct. Loza? Where are you? Hopefully she's in the street. Awesome. I've been following this on Instagram. Really, really like it. Obviously now finished. I love the two-tone skin that you've got going on. It's great. The base looks awesome. The dark and the light. Yeah. Really, really inventive. You could maybe take the lightsaber up a little bit in terms of its brightness. Just in the very center. Get it to an almost white, like a bright cream. But I love what you've done here. You got the good guy, blue lightsaber, bad guy, red lightsaber. Love it. Absolutely love it. Everyone give Loza some love, both here and on her Instagram. She's good people. Love the texture you've got on the cloak as well. Yeah, really, really solid job on that. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. Alright, Caldon, we only really do the whip review of what's gone in during the stream, but because I asked to see that, then I'll go back and find it in a bit. What is going on with this dude's chest? There's got to be an armor plate still to go on there, right? Otherwise, he's got weird inny nips. Like, that's my first takeaway. After that, though, the green's really nice. I love the blue. Some of your highlights there are a little thick. Mostly that's due to just the paint consistency not being quite right. So just look to thin your paint just ever so slightly a bit more for that. You'll find it just helps you get in the application. You don't have to be quite so forceful with your brush as well. And it helps make your highlights just a little bit thinner all round and just slightly neater. But otherwise, what you've got going on is really, really good. Love how bright and vibrant the green is. You got another shot here from the side. Yeah, looks good, dude. The red looks a little flat in comparison to the blue because the blue, you've got those nice dark stages to it. And you build it up to this really bright, crisp highlight. Whereas the red, you've started quite bright already, so your highlights there are harder to see. The thing to do there is to take some either dark red, so today on stream we've mixed red and black together to get a nice dark version of red. Or you could use like a brown wash and just glaze that into some of those recesses. So on this shoulder pad, you've got like a dimple where the rivet is, you could darken that down a little bit. The little bit at the bottom of the shoulder pad, you could darken that down a bit more as well. And what you'll do there is you'll increase the contrast, so those highlights you've got on there just pop up a little bit more. But so far, I love what you're doing with it, dude. Butt shot. Yeah, it's solid, man. Can't be mad at this. Can't be mad at this. This is good. Thank you for sharing, my dude. Cheers, Jager. Alright, Rev, we're back once again. I see highlights. I see extra highlights put on that shoulder. Good lad. Good lad. That was the feedback from last time. That looks much better now. It stands out more next to that face. Slosirka, no problem, dude. Thank you for sharing. Like, first timer in the whip with a banging miniature as well. Congrats. So one of my favourite things about what you've done here, and this is something that more people should think about doing, looks like you've used a sort of pink or purple wash on your red. And that's great for two reasons. The first one is there's nothing wrong with using purple to put as a shadow for red. Purple's basically red darkened with blue, so it does exist. Second reason I like it, purple and green contrast off each other really, really well. And so overall to the whole thing, it stands out. You did blue over the red. Well, it's come out as purple. Same thing. Good work. Good work. Right, Saragon. Always wanted to try the coconut crab scheme. Oh, God. Oh, God. Probably like good choices that way better than expected. To be honest, I actually quite like this. I don't know why I do, but I actually do. I'll tell you what it weirdly reminds me of, though, and you'll hate this, so I'm really sorry. When I was a kid at primary school, the entire school used to get taken on a Friday afternoon to our local swimming pool, and they had this kind of pattern on the wall of the pool. White tiles, light blue tiles, dark blue tiles. And I think that's brilliant on a piranha because it just is. It just is. This is super cool. You need to darken down. Oh. Sorry, we always get like this at the end of the stream because all the big sort of pumped up enthusiasm is draining out now. Reminds you of your ex's shower curtain. I could see a shower curtain like this, yeah. What you need to do though is you need to go back in and darken down all the recesses on the white with like a light to mid-tone grey. Because otherwise you're going to lose all that detail. And if you haven't used pure white to put down your base coat for that, you need to try and find a way of highlighting that as well, which is going to be a little tricky if you have. At that point you're looking at like glazing greys over the white, and that's kind of rough to do. But I actually just love it. I do. I'm not sure why, I just do. You said, what about the cloak? We missed the cloak. The cloak's great. Not just saying that either because you asked about it. It is great. Sorry I didn't notice this before. Again, you've taken time, you've put texture in there. Yeah, all those little scratches. And the best thing about this is that little sort of V shape towards the top part of the cloak. You look like you put in some blue or some green into the cloak there, and it's really giving it a massive difference in colour. And that little V, where it just gets that bright point, sells this for me entirely. Good job. Really good job. Any advice for basing this? Not the best. Oh, any advice for basing this? Not the best with larger bases. Well, you've got him stood on something because of the way he's posed, right? So that's got to be done. Are you looking to do this tau carpet? We'll call it. What's the? Is that like the end goal for this? Estrapper! How you doing, Matt? Saragon, have you ever used oil paints? Because that's substantially easier. Because you can clean it afterwards with no real muscle fuss. Not sure, might be City Roll. Okay, well, the first and biggest bit of advice I can give you there is get your direction down. You could definitely do City Rubble over your Tau Persian rug. You're setting yourself a hell of a challenge here, and there's nothing wrong with that because you should always be pushing yourself to go on to better things. But you're looking at freehanding 2D art, and I'm not the best person to talk to about that. It's just not my area of expertise. Things I could suggest though would be rough out the design a couple of times on some paper, just like large scale. Yeah. That might help out because you can then just translate that down to something smaller. Make sure you still have shadows and highlights on it, but painted as if they were painted that way by the artist. So as if whoever's painted the floor in the first place used darker sides, lighter bits, and got it up that way. It's going to be tricky, and then once you've done that, you've got the hardest job, which is covering it with rubble without covering up too many of the bits. So I would really, really plan this. That's kind of all I've got, I'm afraid, dude. So I think that's how I'd go about it, though. I think I'd draw it first, a couple of times, just pen and paper. Get a rough design, find a few things that I liked. Yeah, maybe just trace that onto the model. You can make Sorcerer on a bike, use Legends, but not these days. How hard would it be to get some of those problems from Forge Road, sort of carve into the similar hobby knife to get a little try to scour the livery off? Surprisingly hard, actually, because you're going to use a hobby knife, which is going to be miles different from whatever he'd be using to do the same task with. Also, bear in mind, he's a magic man. So he could just kind of morph it, right? It could be a spell thing. You've got all those other things that you could bring in there. Yeah, there's loads of different directions you could go, but in terms of carving it to make it look like the guy has cut it off, he'd probably have taken the shoulder pad off and he'd have it in front of him. And Space Marines being what they are, they're kind of like driven, and they would do the job properly, I feel. So he'd probably like take it off in bits and then maybe just refashion his shoulder pad, smooth it down, and you know, that's how I see Space Marines kind of working. Even the bad guys, they're chaotic and all that sort of thing. It doesn't mean they don't look after their kit. How do I plan the bases for my knights? It's like the bonsai tree in Karate Kid. You kind of see the tree and then you make the tree, and that's kind of it. I play around with the shapes in my head for a while, and then I break out the boxes of city terrain and just play around with the bits I've got so I get somewhere close to where my vision is. But that's different because that's 3D and that's very easy to do, and you've got kind of like an advanced Lego set with the city stuff to piss about with. Saxophone, horse with a saxophone, that's no problem. Here we go, another shot of the temple. Reference material as well, dude, like full on. Get yourself pictures of like Roman floors, other mosaics and all that sort of thing, and go from there. Malswear, my first attempt at a Necron. This is a cool scheme. You've gone heavy with some OSL on that, which isn't a bad thing. I think get a slightly better shot of how he's holding that red sword. He's got in a bit of a weird grip. So you've obviously reposed that a bit. I like the cloak. That's nice. I'd probably just try... Wait. Is there some weird like morph thing going on with his base and the cloak? Because there's a kind of an abrupt stop at like orange into blue. Yeah, Des, that would work as well. Just print some decals. Get a sheet of plastic card. Paint that, say black, like rattle can it, airbrush it, whatever. Put that down over the base because it's going to have a nice smooth flat texture, not the bobbly base texture that you've got. And that would be another thing to do, just in general, if you're going to paint it, I think. Because painting those like textured bases is the devil. And then just print out a massive decal. Yeah, kind of like the cloak, but there's definitely something slightly weird happening there. So some of your OSL is a little off. There's obviously something a little bit gone awry with painting the chest panels that he's got there anyway. There's another colour not showing up in the shot. Okay. Well, in that case, I won't, pass a massive judgment. But I think with some of your OSL, he's holding a Resorb, right? He's got the Resorb out at arm's length, and it's illuminating from there. And it's illuminating from there enough to fully light up his bicep. But his armpit and the top of his chest, which is right here, has got no light from it. So you need to get some of this on here. Remember, light is... so we use like the candle on the table picture for this, and you may not have seen that if you haven't been around the stream for probably about 2 months, I guess, last time we used that. But imagine light as a series of bubbles, right? And they work in like the full 360 rotation of a bubble. Right on the inside of the light, that bit right there is the brightest possible light apart from the actual source. Then you go out a bit, and that's slightly less light. Well, again, all round. And you go out a bit further, and that's less light all round, and then so on. So with the tennis ball that he's holding, a resurrection orb, this bit up to say like the wrist, that gets the brightest bit of light, and then this bit gets the next brightest bit, and then this bit's got barely any light on it, and then you need to sort of find your cutoff point for that light, do a circle all the way around that orb in every direction. Yeah, bear in mind the light wouldn't pass through the back of his hand, so there'd be shadows popping out that way, and then work out where those highlights need to go. Now that's difficult on something that's like cloth and doesn't reflect a lot of light. You've got that on a metal man that's highly reflective. That makes things really fucking hard, because whereas maybe the light stops at the elbow, like that's the furthest emanation of light is here. Well, perhaps reflected in the torso is the res orb, because it's shiny. And it's super difficult to do OSL on a reflective surface, because you've got to think like 5 steps ahead. You know, it's rough stuff. For your first attempt, you've done a good job. Work on just refining that bubble of light. Doesn't matter what shape it is. It could be like a bar, right? It still comes out from that bar in a sort of circle around it. So think a little bit about that for your next attempt. For a first attempt, it's better than my first attempt at OSL. For sure. 100% better than my first attempt at OSL. So well done. Keep it up. Good for you for trying. And thank you for sharing. Crowdblade, is this the same one with a better picture? Nice. Here we go. Look at that. Yeah, I like this, dude. We talked about your dwarves before, I think. And I like what you've done. You could go with like full-on glowing eyes for this guy. So like we were just saying about how metal reflects bright light. If you just got some of a highlight color that is just below the brightest point on the pupil, just go along the upper edge of the cheekbone. Don't go past there, just here. Then you can give him a little bit of a glowy eye. Different scheme. Okay. I mean, it's a little harder to tell, but I like the scheme still on this. Honestly. Oh, you mean from the last one? Yeah, I get you. Sorry. These are better photos, though. Thanks for providing them again. And to show you what I mean on the sword. Look at the sword there. You've got a highlight on the back edge of the blade, but the rest of it just looks flat and grey. And so you could just take a little bit of a darker metallic, or just use whatever metallic you've done, add some black into it, just a touch, just not a lot, just a little, and just get on the inside of those blades a little bit. You could also do the highlight down the center line of the sword. A little tricky because it's a curved blade, but you know, definitely something to do. Because everything else you've put quite a lot of care and attention into, I can see. The sword blade, which is quite a prominent part on the Mini, just needs that little bit more differentiation between the elements of the blade. Good job though, man. I still love the scheme. Quid, Indomitus Captain almost finished the put together stage. That's an important stage. That's a great use of a Reaver helmet, and I love that scythe. Getting on that Legion of the Damned train in a big way here, dude. Yeah, good shit. Good shit. The brassiere on the backpack, is that 3D printed? It looks ever so slightly out of scale with the flames. So something to be very careful of when you get anything 3D printed. Or if you sculpt anything. In fact, just make sure your scale is on the money. That looks ever so slightly too big. You can probably still retain that being the right look with your painting though. But the haft of it looks a little fat. I mean, that thing is on a thicker pole than his fucking scythe is by the looks of it. So careful with that. When you do your paint job for it, just take a slow progression through the flames rather than like a full-on. Can't be spilling fire. All right, cool. Safety first. With that scythe and his mate on his shield. I love it though. Great job. JC. Early whip on my Primaris scale Azrael. Trying to work out what the body of that is from. Is it me or does he look ever so slightly slim? Just across the shoulders. Ah, yes, the Indomitor Standard Bearer. That's it. That's it. I think it's just the angle. It's just a slight twist to the camera. I like it though, mate. I love that helmet. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. Like the gargantuan wings, kind of it. Entirely impractical, but great. You need to do a combi plasma gun though, right? For the other hand. Yeah, that's probably it, Jaeger. Yeah. Just one tall boy. Yeah, combi plasma. Maybe the Stern Guard kit can help you out with that. But you're probably looking at having to do a hand swap. Alternatively, you could try like a weird Hellblaster gun / underslung bolt rifle thing. Not sure how you do it. Yeah, I figured so, Des. But what you need to do is remove the hand at that point, which is not without its like pain in the ass moments. But the weapon itself, if you take a bolt pistol or whatever, take the top off of that, you've still got the right grip for it. And you should be able to get some left-handed bolt pistols easily enough. There's normally chainsaws in the right hand. I like him, my dude. And Keldon, drop this in again. Oh, nice one, mate. Thank you. Zenithal / Airbrushed Ink and OSL. This is alright. So you have had a little of the same issue we talked about earlier on with like bubbles of light. So the side of his face is lit up all the way down to his chin. Right. Then there's not much that spills across his shoulder to the point where I actually can't see any. I can see a lot of it on his hair, but I can't see any on the red. Now layering green over red is it's not a fun thing to do. It's such a pain, in fact. But you need to have a little on there. I can see a little actually just on like the collar, but if it's there, it would also be on the edge of the shoulder, which is closer to the source of the light than that bit is on the collar. So again, try and sort of look at the bubbles of light. So around here, we should see the middle of our light at the brightest point. Well, the brightest point comes down and covers like the holder on the edge of the staff. And that's not particularly bright, so that you could probably amp up a little bit. What you've done with the hand is pretty close to what you want, but it's not quite there. Basically, you've got all of that finger Yeah, it comes right down to the bottom of the finger. And on this finger, you've kind of missed a bit at the top. And then there's just a knuckle on this one. And it comes in a bit of a concentrated V. This is hard. Look, everyone that's doing OSL, I fucking applaud you at giving it a go. I fuck it up still from time to time, where it's not quite there, which is why I tend to limit my OSL to stuff like the backpacks on a custards, vents on knights, guns, things like that. Very rarely do I have OSL that spills all over multiple parts of the miniature, because it's fuck hard. We spent an entire stream doing the backpack OSL on a Telemot, because that was one that spilled over different areas, and that was a lot of work. So with the hand, it needs a bit more. You need to either limit the shadow to... Can I studio like this? No, because it blows out the camera way too much. Right, get a friend, a family member to hold a torch above their hand in a dark room and take a photo of that bit, right? And you'll have the whole, like, top of the finger is super bright. This bit's a little bit bright. None of this has light on it whatsoever. And then the same. This bit has a little less light. Actually just pushed slightly further out because this one shadows that part of it. So I just need to do this bit and then a little on the knuckles. And then this one, I'm just going to touch that knuckle. And it's super hard, mate. It is super hard. To get your flesh tones and just remove some of that light from the hand. The face is great. What you've done there is actually spot on. Like, I can't fault that. I'd maybe just get a little dark shadow where his hairline is, just to establish that little bit of a gap. But the stick and the hand definitely need a bit of work, I'm afraid, dude. Yeah, it's a tough one, though. It really is. So thank you for sharing. Good attempt. But you've won something because you learn from that experience. You'll only get better by doing it. So congrats, dude. Right, that is it for this evening. So this is what we did. We are probably about 70-odd% of the way through our Terminator boy. We've got some sick-looking hazard stripes on that power fist. We did all the lenses for the eyes and the little servo skull doodad over there on the desk. So on the next stream, which is Tuesday night, which is the 8th, we're going to be working a bit more on this guy. Might do a little bit on the Hellstorm stream tomorrow, actually. Might get the base done on the Hellstorm stream, because at least that finishes off a big area on mini. So if you want to tune in for that, as Hellstorm Wargaming, twitch.tv/Hellstorm Wargaming at 6 PM tomorrow. Mikey and I will be chatting bollocks and painting probably not bollocks. Not on Twitch anyway. So tune in for that. Otherwise, we'll see you here at 9 o'clock Tuesday night. Let's go find someone to raid. See what's out there. Reiner's on. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go see Reiner. He's painting something that looks quite awesome. I have no idea what it is, but this guy is absolute boss. So when we get there, get rowdy as always. Get them follows in the chat. Thank you very much, guys. Peace out.